And if you move the gaffog, yeah, so, and that's it, so, yeah. Well, how we met, it was rather comical.
I was at that time just out of my grad studies at USC.
Because I have left a husband behind, and 45 days later I met Christoph.
And I was having a roommate, a French girl as a roommate.
And I thought of him as a poor guy, he's struggling, he has 2 jobs.
So we were renting an apartment together. We were also sharing the car because we couldn't afford a car each one, so we were sharing the car, but nothing romantic about it.
He was highly creative and he wanted to work on those 2 jobs because they were interesting projects.
Which is practical. And then she had some French friends, and one of them was Fabrice Bateau, a writer. He's a pretty well-known writer in France now. And he was roommate with my wife, so.
So that was like, interesting. Never met somebody like that.
Well, not long after that, I was gonna go and take Fabrice out to dinner.
And I can easily say we knew it. The moment we looked at each other, we knew it.
And I ended up with a roommate. So that was basically it. But I'm sure this is not the singlest story.
And of course, we learned to be with each other. And for me, it was a very special journey because I had no idea, I'm not technical, so I had no idea about the technicalities of architecture.
I decided when I was 16 or 17 to become an architect. Why? Because, you know, I saw some pictures of Italian group is called Super Studio.
The grid, when activated, creates a situation of Cartesian plan, in which every point is described by the intersection of two straight lines, which is, of course, to be understood not only in the physical sense, but as a visual verbal metaphor for an ordered and rational distribution of resources.
You know, I went to school in Austria, and of course, I had a lot of influences from back from school, and there were a lot of professors and teachers that influenced me. But you know, as far as architects go, Corbusier was a big influence on me. I've read his books over and over again.
It was a surprise when I asked Christoph to show me his portfolio. And I will never forget, he brought it home. We were living together, you know. And huge thing on paper, of course. And he opened this big thing and started flipping pages. And it was so unreadable to me. It just, I said, what is this guy into? But then slowly I learned, and I understood, and I was there through the process when he got the inspiration on this photograph of a microchip to do the library, the roof of the library.
Snap, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2.
It's a long story because it all started back in Austria, where I studied at the Technical University in Graz, and I studied with a number of people that we always did competitions and things with. And one of them was this Norwegian guy, Kjetil Thorsen. And after I graduated there and moved over here, we tried to get together and do more of those competitions together. And one day, I think he called me or I called him or something, and we found this, the Library in Alexandria competition. So we decided we're going to do this. So we assembled a team. We went, he got some people from Norway, and I got somebody from here that I knew. And I took vacation from my day job, 3 weeks vacation, which was a long vacation at that time in the 80s. We drew up the competition, and we had a very good time doing it, and it was a really, really exciting and creative period. And we sent it in. And we thought, as when you do those architectural competitions, it's most of the time you don't win anything, right? So that's what we thought. I went back to my job. They went back to Norway. Until 2 months later, I get a call, and the guy from Norway calls me up and says, "Guess what? We won that competition." So it was a big thing. I went downstairs to the liquor store, bought 2 bottles of champagne for the office I worked in, put it on the table and said, "I'm quitting, let's have some champagne." And that's how it all started. And 2 months later, I was in Norway because we decided to have our office there.
It was not just that the building is big, but everything was bigger. The situations were bigger, the lack of support was bigger because of the scope of the building.
And we started working on the project. It wasn't that easy though, because first we had to find out who the client was, because we just won a competition, but we didn't know if there was a client, if anybody wanted to build this.
At the same time, there were magnificent people that understood him and stood by him.
So we did this initial study to do a huge model, to do a small movie with Omar Sharif in it. And we made booklet drawings. And so that was supposed to be presented in Egypt, in Aswan, to a number of kings and queens and leaders of state, etc., who were asked to put up some money for this project.
Yeah, politics, And he's the diplomat. I'm just the one that lets it all out there. I let it all happen. Oh, yes.
And in the end, I believe there were $60 or $70 million. And I'm not 100% sure how much was raised at that meeting, but it was a considerable amount of money raised at that meeting. And so it was decided that we were going to go ahead. But the Egyptian government had no intention at this point to sign a contract with us. So it was a difficult situation where we had to basically find out what would it take to there was some money there, what would it take to push the project ahead?
Both of us worked very similarly, but also very differently.
Well, we were lucky because the Norwegian government helped us, and they helped us have an office in Cairo to basically push the thing ahead, an office with just myself and my wife.
So it was just, for me, it was a learning experience to be able to express what I was feeling without any rubbish in between. It's just, and so we could work together.
And we were just sitting there, drinking tea with government agencies and asking questions, when is it going to happen, and negotiate contract, find an Egyptian partner. We had to, of course, have an Egyptian architects and engineering partner, etc., etc. And there were a lot of people that wanted to be our partners. So it was a fun part of the project.
We're both perfectionists, but in different areas, which is perfect.
It took us a year. We were down there a year until the money ran out, the money that the Norwegian government gave us to do this.
So, and those were challenging times for both of us.
So we had to go back. We went back, and it took another year until suddenly we get a call that the President Mubarak at that time decided to do the project and is ready to sign a contract.
And his most dedicated, devoted admirer, because not only of his ability to create, but his human is just, to me, is out of this world. His dignity, his integrity.
So he said, basically, whatever contract we have, or whatever contract they proposed to us, because it wasn't that we proposed to them, whatever was on the table at the moment, he wants to have signed by the 24th of October, we should be there. So we signed the contract and we went ahead.
His honesty, his compassion, even his cynicism, which I share a little bit too. But he has those qualities that they are not common in one person.
The main two ideas for the library were, because it was said that the ancient Library of Alexandria contained all the knowledge in the world, the first big thing was a circle, because a circle is like encompasses the universe, the entire world.
It took me like 3-4 years to be able to read plans. It was Chinese to me.
So we had to figure out, in order to get this thing designed and built, we had to figure out what is the geometry of a circle twisted along an axis, one of the small axes, and what kind of thing are we getting there? When you look at the roof, you find that it consists of hundreds of skylights, and of course, because direct sunlight hurts the books, so we had to make sure that all of these were pointing north.
And slowly I observe, I'm very curious, and he's even more curious than I am, that I watched.
Right? You cut an elliptical cylinder at 90 degrees, it's going to be an ellipse. But there has to be one place at one angle where it's a circle in both directions.
You know, he would work 60 hours a week and go at 2 o'clock in the morning to check how the pouring of the quality of the concrete was up to par.
Okay? So we took that knowledge and we went and said, okay, so we are building exactly the elliptical cylinder that and I don't remember exactly, but I think it was 17 degrees. On both sides gives you a circle.
I recall one day, it was my birthday. I went to pick him up at the airport. From Alexandria, I had to go to Cairo, almost 3 hours.
I mean, the first example for the idea of the roof came from a microchip waver, one of those round things that they use to put the microchips, and then they cut the microchips out. So that was the origin of the idea of the roof.
I got there, and we needed to drive back to Alexandria because he needed to change.
So the roof is basically the high-tech thing, the thing that regulates the climate, the environment inside the building.
Go back to Cairo and meet with one of the ministers. And it was my birthday, so I can actually say that I spent my birthday, that birthday, in the car.
And then you have, inside that floor plan, you have this grid to signify the limitless space, or the infinity, if you want.
Yeah, I scold him a little bit. You know, women do that.
And I'd been working before on grids. I did a study on the development of the city of Los Angeles, which I'm still very fascinated by, and still have been studying since. So, and what is the meaning of that grid? What is the meaning of the circle? And what is the meaning if you put the two of them together?
to go on vacation every time, every single time. A disaster after disaster after disaster. And of course, it always happened when he was away.
The circle contains the infinity of the non-hierarchical grid.
We were coming back like this. What happened?
The grid is probably the opposite of the circle. It's the most democratic thing you can imagine, because every corner and every side and every edge of it is basically the same. So I strongly believe that that's why American cities are built on a grid, because it's the most democratic system we know. So there is a correlation between ideas and geometry.
Is that he maintains an elegance, and he maintains the space, the spatial, S-P-A-T-I, okay, that type.
Even now, as the building is completed, when you stand in there, you will always feel those two elements.
I'm his best critic. But he's so talented. I mean,
The thing was, what we want to try to do is to express those geometries in the building so that people that were sensitive to these ideas would take the geometry and develop their own feelings about it.
yes, it's the yin and the yang, yeah. And we played so well. It's like a symphony. And I don't want to be cheesy or corny, but it is. It is. I mean, we have gone through so many situations and so many, different experiences.
The fact that this roof is tilted, it tilts considerably below grade on one side and above grade on the other. It creates those two elements of that wall, and that wall is the reference to Egypt. Is made out of granite, and it's not cut granite. It's split so you can see the rough surface, and then those letters are carved in with hand tools by hundreds and hundreds of people.
I believe that in partnerships, because what we have is a partnership that has lasted 30 years.
Well, I think as long as it stayed on paper as idea and as drawing, everything is fairly easy. Once they start building it and money gets involved and politics get involved, then it becomes really difficult. So I would say definitely the last 6 years and all the politics and publicity and all the other stuff. So I think those were the most difficult ones. And to get things right with the contractors, it was not easy. It was a very, very lucky combination of the right people at the right time.
But the important part of that partnership is that you just follow the rules.
So it was 4 years of planning and 7 years of construction, so it was a long process. The project cost $120 million at that time. Of course, that would be more now, but that's what it cost.
But your own rules we never discussed, you know. And then I know that I have a role, and my role is to support him. It's my rule and my role. And he has his rules and his roles.